Okay, let's keep reading the 13th Reality Journal of Curious Letters. We're up to the chapter called Time Constraints. It took only a few seconds for Tick and Sophia to break past the thin wall of awkwardness. They did, after all, know each other very well from their email exchanges. They sat in the back of the car and talked non-stop during the drive back to Norbert's home. Tick's dad squeezed in the back seat next to them, butting in every now and then to ask a question or two. Sophia had never given Tick a hint in her emails that she was from a wealthy family, and nothing about her screamed it out either. She said she planned all along to surprise Tick in Alaska, figuring she might as well go along too. Huh? The cost of the trip was no problem for her family, and as long as Froopy the butler went with her, Sophia's parents pretty much let her do whatever she wanted. "So how in the world did you get so rich?" Tick asked when they reached the town. "My ancestors invented spaghetti." Tick laughed, but cut it short when Sophia looked at him with a stone-cold face. "Wait, you're serious?" Sophia finally let out a chuckle and slapped Tick on the shoulder, hard. "No, but I got you good, didn't I? Actually, my grandfather would say his father did invent it, or at least made it perfect. Ever heard of Pacini spaghetti?" No, sorry," Sophia huffed. "Americans, all you eat are hamburgers and French fries." She pinched all five fingers of her right hand together in a single point, shaking it with each word. It was just like something Tick had once seen in a mafia movie about an Italian mob boss. Sophia even made a small O sound after her words, sometimes like anda and Frencha. "Hey, I eat spaghetti all the time," Tick argued, "with authentic ragu sauce." "Authentic?" Sophia pursed her lips. "Then I guess you've also never heard of Pacini sauce. What is this? Ragu. It sounds like some kind of disease." "It tastes pretty good, but I'll tell you what," Tick said. "You send me some of your stuff and I'll try it." "Froopy," she barked at the butler, driving the car. "Yes, Miss Pacini," he said, looking in the rearview mirror. "Please send 3 cases of our spaghetti and sauce to these poor Americans." "I'll do it the second we return, miss." "Thank you." She looked back at Tick. "He's such a good butler. You really should get one." "Yeah, right," Tick said, sharing a laugh with his dad. "The only thing my family's invented is Edgar stew, and trust me," he lowered his voice into a pretend whisper, "it wouldn't sell." "At least your mum's a good cook," his dad chimed in, ignoring Tick's insult. "I bet we could get rich off her if we knew how." "What?" Sophia teased. "Does she make a good hamburger and French fry?" "Do you really think that's all we eat?" Tick asked. "Oh, sorry, I forgot. She makes a good hot dog too." Even as they laughed, Tick couldn't get over the craziness of it all. Here he was, joking around with a girl from Italy in the back of a butler-driven car in the state of Alaska, having just escaped from a runaway Oldsmobile. His life had certainly changed forever. Once they got back to Norbert's, Tick's dad called Aunt Mabel and told her they wouldn't be back until the next day. Then he called the police and began the long process of dealing with the car accident. Froopy and Norbert scrounged around in the kitchen trying to find food for everyone. Car chases evidently make people hungry, Tick thought as his own stomach rumbled. Tick and Sophia sat together on the pitiful couch in the front room, discussing the latest clue they'd received. They had to use Sophia's copy because Tick's had bitten the bullet along with the rental car. He'd failed to slip it back into his journal during the frantic rush of excitement. The only light in the room came from a junky old lamp without a shade, its bare light bulb blinding if you looked at it directly. "Well, it's obviously just like the first clue," Tick said, as Sophia scanned the words again, "except this one tells us the time instead of the day." "You Americans are so smart," she replied. "How did you ever figure that out?" "Man, you sure are a smart aleck for a rich Italian girl." "Girl?" she asked, her eyes narrowing. "Do I look like a little baby doll to you?" Tick laughed. "I never would have guessed you'd actually be scarier in real life than in an email." Sophia elbowed him hard in the stomach. "Just remember what I told you. I beat up 17 boys last summer. No one messes with a Pacini." It's okay. I don't usually go around picking fights with young women who own spaghetti companies. That's better, Americanese boy. Now let's figure this out, huh? Sounds good, Italianese woman. Tick didn't understand why she could call him boy, but he couldn't call her girl. He wanted to laugh again, for some odd reason. He felt really comfortable around her, but he didn't particularly want another jab to the stomach. He took the sixth clue from her instead and read through it again while she stared into space for a minute, thinking. Recite the magic words at exactly 17 minutes past the quarter hour following the 6-hour mark before midnight, plus 166 minutes plus 7 quarter hours plus a minute times 7, rounded to the nearest half hour plus 3, neither a second before nor 3 seconds after. Yes, I'm fully aware it will take you a second or two to say the magic words, but I'm talking about the precise time you begin to say it. Stop being so snotty. Once again, MG's sense of humour leaked through the message, and Tick found himself eager to meet the man Norbert had already met. At least now they knew his real name. Master George. Sounds like something from Star Wars. How long did it take you to figure out the first clue? Tick asked. How long did it take you? Sophia responded. Every once in a while, she messed up her English, but for the most part, she knew it perfectly. Once I sat down to do it, maybe an hour. Then it took me half an hour. Yeah, right. Sophia gave him an evil grin and raised her eyebrows. Should we race on this one, like a Master George Olympics? Tick had assumed they'd work together to solve it, but her idea suddenly sounded like fun. If I was a nerd before, I've hit rock bottom geek stature by now, he thought. You're on, he said, ready for the challenge. I'm on what? She asked. Speak English, please. Tick rolled his eyes. Here, we'll put the clue on this little coffee table where we can both see it, okay? Neither one of us is allowed to touch it. I'll run and get some paper and a pencil from Norbert so you can have something to write on. He stood up. What about you? She asked. Tick held his journal out. I'll write in this. Why didn't you bring yours? Sophia shrugged. I got tired of carrying it around. Who needs it? She tapped her head with a finger. It's all stored up here anyway. So what about a prize? What does the winner get? Good question. Tick scratched his neck, faltering when he realised he wasn't wearing his scarf. He must have lost it in the wind after they busted the windshield. What's wrong? Sophia asked. Huh? Oh, nothing. He paused. His scarf was gone, and Sophia hadn't said a thing about his birthmark. Maybe he could actually survive without... No, he had an extra one at home, and deep down Tick knew it would be around his neck when he returned to school. Tick, Sophia said, staring up at him, did your brain freeze? No, it's just... Never mind. He snapped his fingers. I've got it. The winner gets to visit the house of the loser next summer, but you have to pay for it either way because you're rich. Wow, what a deal. I'll be back in a sec with the stuff. A couple of minutes later, pencils in hand, the race began. Just as he'd done with the first clue, Tick jotted down the phrases from the sixth clue that seemed to go together logically. Once he'd done that, he assigned letters to them to indicate the order they should be calculated in. It seemed easy now that he'd gone through the process before. The biggest problem was determining which midnight the clue referred to, the one that began the day of May the 6th or the one at the end of it. Then he realised whatever time he ended up with probably wouldn't be midnight, so it really didn't matter. He nervously glanced over at Sophia, who was doing a lot more thinking than writing, tapping her pencil against her forehead, staring at the clue. I'm way ahead of her, he thought, and continued his scribbles. A couple of minutes later, the page in his journal looked like this. Beginning time, midnight. A, 6-hour mark before midnight, 6 p.m. B, quarter hour following A, 6:15 p.m. C, 17 minutes past B, 6:32 p.m. D, C plus 166 minutes, 9:18 p.m. E, D minus 7 quarter hours, 7:33 p.m. F, E plus a minute times 7, 7:40 p.m. G, F rounded to the nearest half hour, 7:30 p.m. H, G plus 3 half hours, 9 p.m. on May the 6th. Bingo, he yelled, turning to say his time out loud. His words died somewhere in his throat when he saw Sophia looking at him with a smirk, holding up her paper with an answer scrawled across it. 9 p.m. Dang, Tick muttered, but you didn't even take notes or anything. I've got brains. I don't need notes. Tick folded his arms. I take it back. You're not a woman, you're a girl, and I hate spaghetti. I believe Americans call this a sore loser, right? Something like that. Sophia put her hands behind her head and looked up at the ceiling, letting out a big sigh, relishing her win. I can't wait to visit your little house in Washington. Will your mother make me eat a hot dog? Tick snapped up the sixth clue from the table and stood up. If you're lucky, and what makes you think our house is little, rich girl? Sophia lowered her arms to her lap and eyed Tick up and down. I looked at your clothes and I said to myself, he must live in a little house. She winked, then punched Tick in the leg, hard. Ow, he yelled, rubbing the spot. What's that for? To let you know I'm kidding. Tick shook his head. You are one weird kid. Ah, yes, that's the kettle calling the pupper black. Tick burst out laughing, falling back onto the couch, holding his stomach. What's so funny? Well, for one thing, you said it backwards, and it's pot, not pupper. Whatever. When I come to visit you, I will teach you Italian so we can talk like intelligent people. I think spaghetti is just about the only Italian word I need to know. Thank you very much. That and pizza. Sophia tried to punch him again, but this time Tick was too fast. He jumped up and ran out of the room, the sounds of pursuit closely behind. Luckily, dinner was ready in the kitchen. Ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. The next day, Tick's heart hurt when he had to say goodbye to Norbert, then Fruity, and Sophia after they dropped him and his dad off at a car rental agency. The rich girl and her butler had a flight to catch. In just one day, they'd become like close family, and he hated to think he may never see them again. At least he knew he could expect an email from Sophia, and he hoped she really would come to visit him next summer. Of course, by then, the magic day would have come and gone, and who knew what might change after that. After another couple of fun-filled days being pampered by Aunt Mabel and having his life mapped out for him in detail, Tick and his dad headed back to Washington. Once there, Tick began the longest 3 months of his life.